Hi guys, it's Kelly and I am back with another video, and today I am going to be using the stamp set from Simon Says Stamps from their latest, their Reason to Smile release. It's called Choose Happy, and I am making a card for the Coffee Lovers Blog Hop, the spring version. There's this cute little coffee mug with a little heart on it that is included in the set, along with this fantastic sentiment. And that's so I wanted to use those to create my card. The coffee mug stamp has like a little steam rising off from the mug, and I didn't want that. I also didn't want the back of the mug because I wanted to stack a bunch of mugs inside each other. So I'm just using a post-it note to kind of mask that off. Because of the way that the stamp is, the back of the back line of the cup is drawn so close to the front of it, I had a little bit of trouble doing it this way, and eventually I did end up switching to just wiping it off with a baby wipe. It was just easier. But there's a couple of different ways that you can mask things. I also have traditional masks that I am using that I've created with Tombow Mono multi glue. That I'm putting down to protect the mugs I've already stamped when I am building up the stack of mugs. So I ended up doing 4 rows of them. My original game plan was to do them as like a background and then add some color and stamp my sentiment over top. That's not quite what ended up happening, but cards have a mind of their own. So I'm going to erase that pencil line I was using to line my mugs up, and I'm going to replace it with a bold black line, and that's just going to give me like a counter shelf, however you want to put it, to put them on. And instead of making the mugs colorful, I actually decided that I was kind of going to do a wash of color in the background, just something really kind of abstract, but with pretty pastel colors. Just something different. I think a lot of times, I know I personally do get stuck in ruts and with just coloring black outline images. So I thought that this was something kind of fun and different to give it a try. When you're blending colors that are in different color families, you want to make sure that you're picking things that are super close to each other. So I have like a Y00, a YG01, B00, YR00. So I picked the lighter colors, but they all at least start with 0 minus the BG11. And it's because the BG11 is the lightest color I have in the BGs that has really any kind of pigment. The other one I have is BG quadruple 0, and it is super, super light. It would have been too light for me to do what I wanted to do with it. So they ended up working out okay, and just like anything else that you're coloring with Copics, you can go over them again. Copics blend better when they saturate the paper. So just keep working with them until you find something that makes you happy. I knew I wanted mine to be abstract. I knew that it wasn't going to blend perfectly. I wanted my colors to overlap. That's what I was going for. If you're not going for that, you might have to work with them a little bit longer than I did. I'm using a fairly light hand, and I am feathering a lot of the color because they blend better that way. So when I'm laying the colors down, I'm trying to feather up into the white above it and then into the color below it as well. For this blue-green, I didn't really do too much feathering on the bottom. I thought it looked cool like this. I'm going to be honest. I thought it looked kind of like the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights. And I think I would actually like to try to do a sky like this one time. We'll see how that goes. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that, so I have a hard time with things that are abstract that don't have that clean look to it. But I'm glad that I tried it, because even though I'm not totally in love with this card, maybe you will be, or maybe it will give you an idea for something else, like it kind of did for me with the skyline. So, and again, it was just something, that I wanted to try that was outside of my normal box. So after I got the colors down and I had blended them out to blend in the white top portion of it, I brought in my colorless blender And my color splendor has recently been filled, so it's really saturated. And then I just colored that right over top of those edges, and then even down into the coloring that I had done, just to give it a little bit more texture and blend those colors a little better. And like I said before, I wanted the cups to I wanted the background to be the color, so I want to keep the cups neutral. I decided I was going to go ahead and color them white, light gray, however you want to look at it. So I just did some shading with my C's. I added shading to the edges of the cups to give them a little bit of roundness, and then as well, where the cups would stack inside of each other would be darker, would cast that shadow, and then their handles, where the handles are closest to the actual body of the mug, there would be shading there as well. The C5 is as dark as I went for this, and I added that just to where the mugs sit inside each other, and then just a little teeny tiny dot in the handles. I colored all of the mugs, all the stacks of mugs, exactly the same way. And then, because I knew I was going to add just a little bit of color to those hearts, but it's 4 stacks of mugs that look identical. I think this would be super cute to do and add some detail with a white gel pen, or some detail with a black pen, a little bit of Zentangle, something like that. For the countertop, I wasn't going for a shadow. I was more going for the illusion of a reflection. So I'm using those same gray markers, and I'm really, like, it looks like I'm scribbling on color because I am literally just scribbling on color. I tried to vary them to match how tall or short my stacks were. So I tried to keep the darker colors pretty consistent with that, and I think it does kind of allude to the reflection. I blended these out with the colorless blender as well, just to get more moisture on the paper so that they would blend better. And then I went back in and just kind of darkened up that countertop edge with the same colors I used before. I used the C1 to kind of blend that out. Then I'm going to add those colors to the hearts, just like I had talked about before. I used the same colors I did for the background for most of them. There was 2 exceptions, and that was the violet and the RV, the pink. Because when I colored them, like, even though you can tell the difference in the background, in these teeny tiny little areas of the hearts, they just were not bright enough. So I went 1 step up with each of them. For the violet, I went up to a V01, and for the red violet, I went up to a V02, just so you could tell that there was a difference between the pink and the purple. They looked almost identical when they were in the hearts by themselves. So after I got the hearts done, I went ahead and outlined all of the mugs again. If you watch my videos, you know this is something that I always do. I picked a journaling pen and then just went ahead and outlined everything again. This is just a preference that I have. Even if I think even if I had like a super black ink, I would probably still do this just because I enjoy it. I'm going to be using Simon Says Stamp black ink to stamp my sentiment, but this is the first time I'm stamping it, so I'm going to stamp it off on my scrap piece of post-it note there before I actually ink it up and stamp it onto my card, just to make sure everything came out okay. And this sentiment is the best, I have to tell you. How to make me happy. Buy me coffee. Make me coffee. Be coffee. Coffee. Like, this is seriously, this should be my life's mantra, because I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts right now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, got my Dunkin' in hand, and I'm a happy girl. So after all of this was said and done, I felt like it was kind of boring. So I trimmed my panel down a little bit. I cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I decided I wanted to add just a little bit of pattern to it. I could have cut it off and used pattern paper. That's totally an option. Or I could have mounted it on pattern paper, like cut down the panel a little bit smaller and mounted it on pattern paper. Instead, I'm going to draw my own pattern. This is just something that I like to do. I enjoy doing this. It's kind of a little de-stressor for me. So I ended up doing, drawing like a checkerboard, and then using what they call cross hatching. So diagonal lines from the left to the right and from the right to the left, to do some shading and making it just like a checkerboard, so that they were alternating the dark with the light. And this just gave it a little bit more interest, and it made me like the card much more. And you can do this with anything, you know, journaling pens. I totally believe like they make magic. You can do so many different things with them and make something your own. So of course the Wink of Stella had to come out, because you know all the things need shimmer and coffee mugs need shimmer. And then I mounted it on a white card base, and that's the card. That's the whole thing. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you are playing along with the Coffee Lovers Blog Hop, I can't wait to see what you make. It's such a fun thing that they do, and I enjoy playing along every time they do the hop. So thank you so much. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.